It's funny how all the other nations are turning on each other. You got guys in the comment coming and saying, well, it wasn't just, so-called white people that sold you, black people sold your own people and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, we know Hamites sold Israelites, that is in the Bible. We already know that. We never said it was all about one group of people. Our own brethren have sold us out as well. And now we're going to talk about that today. See, so-called Native Americans, they're on the chart about being our brothers and whatever else. They sold us out as well. They made a covenant with the other nations, with the Europeans, to sell us out. With the 1866 Indian Treaty, we were supposed to have gotten our freedom. We were supposed to become a part of the nation. We were supposed to have gotten about 160 acres. We were supposed to have gotten like $150. We were supposed to have gotten a lot of things. And all those things were strategically kept from us. From 1866 till about 1940, 41, they would, if we had one drop of blood, this is how they got rid of us. If you had one drop of blood, you were considered Negro, you were not native or whatever else, you were a slave. And that's how they got rid of us as a people. And then they were able to keep all of the money for themselves, the so-called Native Americans. And then they made a covenant with Esau in 1941, talking about these blood tests you have to do. It's actually pretty much going through the lineage of your grandmother. Well, if you waited about 80 years to kick us all out of the nations, okay, then you came up with these laws after about 80 years, after you pretty much purged us out of your roles and purged us out of being natives. Then you let people who were like 1/16th, we have 1/16th native blood in them to be native, but anyone that was 1%, so-called had black blood in them were considered black, and they had no connection with the natives. So that's how you got rid of us. But you know what? There's going to be a payment for that. And I used to always wonder why when I would go to powwows, I did not feel welcome. You see all these people that were dancing and whatever else, and inside of their little circle, and so-called looking like white looking people and whatever else, but you saw very little black people. Now you understand why, because they know these lands are ours, and they know that they made a covenant with the devil, and now it's time to pay. Check out this video. It sums it up beautifully and perfectly, so you understand what is going on and why these other nations just ignore us, don't allow us to come around them, don't allow us to to figure out who we are, because they know that once this is over, they're going to have to pay as well. So it's not just about color. There's plenty of people that look just like us. They're also our enemies and have also done us dirty as well. This is about the spirit. Just like the woman yesterday, people were like, the Cuban woman. It has nothing to do with her color. It has nothing to do with her dad being born a Cuban. It has to do with her spirit. Look how her spirit was vexed. I don't care what you look like. There's going to be Israelites that look like all the other nations because we are mixed. But the Most High is awakening the ones that He is calling. Check out this video.
The U.S. government. This wasn't willy-nilly cowboys, running wild. This was a U.S. government and its policies that ultimately bastardized, took away from, stole from the Native Americans, made treaties that ultimately were broken. If you want to say willy-nilly, that's where willy-nilly came in. So if you want to address that for a moment.
Well, yes. And see, it started that one of the first treaties was the New York Treaty about 1516 that came in. That was one of the first treaties. But in every one of those treaties that they set up with the Indians, they put an inclusion in there saying this, that if you were to cooperate with us and be able to help us maintain the slavery system we set up in this country, and we will reward you and compensate you. We'll give you clothing, we'll give you food, we'll give you weapons, and we'll even call you civilized if you help us maintain slavery. Every treaty contained a clause to help Indians to shut down black folk. Slavery could never have existed in this country and been maintained without the full participation of the American tribes. That's why they started calling them civilized, Rock. Because they began to say, you quit hunting in the woods and running wild and get yourself some land and get yourself some slaves. So Indians became slave hunters, slave traders, and in the final analysis, all civilized tribes, the Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, and Seminole Indians, they all fought with the South to maintain slavery. And so therefore, and they got benefits from it. And that led to, going back to the earlier question you asked me about reparations. And even after the Civil War ended, the Choctaw and Chickasaw was still holding about 12 or 15,000 slaves even after the Civil War ended. The United States government sent in troops saying, you got to get rid of this slavery and set black folk free. And they set up what's called the 1866 Indian Treaties with these 5 civilized tribes, which says that black people in this country must not only turn them loose, they must get benefits. They must get forms of reparations. Going back to your earlier question, you must first of all set them free. 2, you must give them an option, and this is for all black freedmen and all blacks who lived in the Indian Territory and all black Indians. You must set them free, allow them to have membership in the tribe. You must give them, let them have access to all the resources on the reservation. You must let them also be tax exempt. You must let them have free education. You must also let them be able to give them $150 in cash. You must give them 160 acres of land. And in present day times, those black Indians under the 1866 treaty should be they could also hold gambling casinos. Now, this country has never carried out the full mandates, but yet we're still honoring it for Indians. Right now, all the benefits that Indians are getting in this country are getting it from the 1866 Indian Treaty, because they took up arms against the United States in the Civil War. They wiped out all previous treaties. Now, every year in the White House, we get about 560-something white Indian chiefs, which in history they call $5 Indians, because 90% of the people call themselves Indians nowadays are not really Indians. Those are whites passing as Indians, because they pay $5 to the Dawes Commission to get their name on the Dawes roll so they can get all these advantages. But every year they get invited to the White House, and every year they got approximately $3.5 billion every year. Even that Obama's been in office, they got money into the Federal Indian Bureau. Now, see, if you would talk about reparations, black folks have been getting all this money all these years too. But they got shut out because the Indians in 1938, they sent a letter to the Department of Bureau of Indian Affairs saying, how do we shut black folk down to make sure they never get any reparations? And that letter floated around in the federal government from about 1938 to about 1941. Then it went to the Secretary for the Department of Interior, and the Department of Interior looked and says, said, how did I come up with a scheme to shut down blacks so they get no reparations in this country? He said, what you do, you Indians come up with a new concept called the quantum blood law, which says that black folk are not entitled to any of the benefits of the 1866 treaty in terms of reparations unless they can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they got 1/4 Indian blood in them. And we make Indian blood sacred like Jesus Christ's blood. And therefore, they've been shutting blacks out all these years. That's why they didn't get any reparations, to go back to your earlier point. And the last point on reparations, you asked me earlier about a blueprint. This country's always given reparations to all groups except black folk, even though black folk were the ones who built the country. They built the bridges, they picked the cotton, they built the highways, they built the government buildings. They were the backbone of this nation. But now, so in the Marshall Plan, we gave billions of dollars to Germans after World War II. We got under what's called a Point 4 program. We gave reparations to Japanese. We gave reparations to American Indians. We gave reparations to everybody but black folk. Yet black folk are locked into the bottom of a vertical order and a descending order of wealth, owning, and poverty. And control of resources, and nobody wants to address the issue.
Now, conveniently, they, for those from 1866 to 1940, they asked how they got rid of us by they didn't recognize us as part of the tribes. And they waited till 1941, and they just go back to their grandparents and let these people. But I'm going to show you our quantum blood test. Let me show you how we know who the hell we are. It doesn't matter what the government has approved. It matters what the Most High has approved. We are his people. This is our land. And the Most High has raised us up. And that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to give all of it back to us once again. So you guys bet on the wrong team. Y'all made the covenant with the wrong people. You should have been following the power, following the Most High, and helping his people, as opposed to what you did do, which was destroy us and join hand in hand with the heathen. Here's our quantum blood test right now. It's written on the walls who are the original Indians of the past, the original Mayans of the past, the original Egyptians of the past. So it doesn't matter what your government has approved. It matters what the Most High has said and who he gave these lands to. How they be feeling when they go see the people who was depicted on the ancient walls. So you saying that, you got to show your grandmother, great-grandmother was full-blooded, and you can be 1/16th Indian and still be considered Indian. But if you have 1 drop of Negro blood, you're not an Indian, you're black, and that's it. There's a hell to pay, and that hell to pay is here. You've made covenants with the wrong team, and now the Most High has raised up his people. The end is near. The truth is coming out, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do to stop it. Shalom.